Our closing moment with Minister Fashola, and we have rather two more issues to take, that of housing and the Mina Road. Let's quickly go to Malcolm's second question, which we couldn't let you answer before the break.
I think the much that I can say in this constrained time environment about housing. Housing itself is a real big apple.
Time is never enough.
In the industry is that the policy is affordable housing. That's the national policy. The question is what is affordable and what is acceptable, and by who and for who. Now what we've simply done is do a survey, work with architects across the country, design what we think will pass the test of acceptability in different cultural settings across the country, harmonize into two broad-based designs for North and South, and we have now awarded contracts which we intend to prove concept of acceptability and affordability. And this is important because there are a lot of houses, a decent number of houses out there that are unoccupied. Either people don't accept the way they are built or can't afford what it costs. So in the event, I think we'll be ruling out about 29 or so states who have given us land. We'll continue as others come on, and then we will prove concept. If we do, and then the model is acceptable and falls within the affordability benchmarks, because we have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, then we will develop a template where private sector helps us to build the designs that we have proven as acceptable and affordable. Then the next step is to help citizens acquire them by strengthening the Federal Mortgage Bank. One of the things I intend to take on with the bank when we get back is how to strengthen cooperatives also, in terms of using cooperatives to also acquire land for site and service and all of that. So it's a lot of work, as I said. Again, it's work in the background. The results will start to manifest.
Wait, quickly, the proposed diversion of flights to Mina, to Abuja, that means my mind is really with the Mina Road. That is why because we're looking at nearness, closeness, the proximity, and many would have preferred to have it to the Mina airport. But the excuse has to do with the road and making us ask about the state of that Mina Abuja road.
Well, let me say that the Mina Abuja road, again, wasn't in the budget. So we had created some bulk funding for strategic intervention, and it was very, very late last year that we were able to find some money to give the contractor to go back to site. Unfortunately, the contractor is being owed by the federal government from the past. The contractor is owing his own bankers. So immediately we released the money, his bankers took the money. So we're now saying, look, let's see what we can do here. This contractor's ability to pay will be affected by how much more work he can do. But hopefully we will resolve it. I think the bank will understand this, that they need their customer to continue to earn income and pay back. And so we should see some traction on the Mina Road. Now, in terms of airport closure, I want to say first that I understand and I appreciate that it will cause some inconvenience to citizens. But as my colleague, the Honorable Minister for Aviation, has said, this is a choice for safety. And I think that when we have to choose between safety and inconvenience, we should choose to be safe. And so that is the background to understand it. One of the things I did, my ministry was involved in the preparatory meetings. One of the things I did was to first check, Google, where have airports been closed before? And the results were quite interesting. Quite a number of countries have closed, diverted. So we're not doing something that hasn't been done before. It will cause some inconvenience, and I think what we should understand first is that it's not an indefinite inconvenience. It's for a stated period, 6 weeks. Hold us to that. We will try and ensure that it doesn't exceed that period. The notice of a 6 weeks closure is longer than the closure itself. is an 8-week notice. So it gives us enough time as a people to adapt. We can do our business differently. And we have technology now. So unless the trip is absolutely necessary, during that period, change your program, bring it forward or move it backwards. There's video conferencing, there's Skype. Makwe is talking to us and we can see her from Abuja. This is technology. So why doesn't Makwe fly to Lagos to come and sit here? So we need to adapt for the period of inconvenience so that we will be safer. Now, as far as the road work is concerned, we are doing our part. We have done some cost estimates. We send them to the Bureau for Public Procurement, and we hope that they will certify and give us their no objection to start the rehabilitation. And this is important also because when I hear all sorts of things about some people have awarded one contract, you just don't know how government procurement works. I don't award contracts. I don't sign checks. I don't even sit in procurement meetings.
Your Excellency, I'm tempted to drag into a conversation we're having off camera when we talk about contractors that have failed to do their jobs and prosecution and all that. And I know you said that might be distracting, but let's go back to the issue of the housing. I mean, there are federal housing, there's a federal housing authority, there are federal housing estates spread across the country, some of them not inhabited, and yet we still say we have a housing deficit. As at the last time, was it 17 million? I'm not sure again. But what is happening to our federal housing estates?
Well, I would not join you in mouthing the size of that deficit because, you see, when we were making the issue about the importance of a census in 2006, people thought that it was politics. It wasn't. It's planning. So who did the census of the people to determine where the deficit is? If that last census, as it has been proven, when we challenged the results, the census tribunal said we were right. That meant that census numbers were not accurate. So what is the basis then for plotting a housing deficit out of inaccurate numbers? But to the point...
So it could actually be worse.
And it could be better.
Okay.
And that is why a census is an all too important exercise that we must carry out in the very, very near future, so that we know how many people are in this Nigerian family. How many are children, how many are teenagers, how many are adults, how many are women.
But Mr. Fashola, if you look at all of this, in all that we have discussed so far, there's one sole thing that stood out that Nigerians wouldn't forgive us if we don't ask you, and it has to do with the cardinal objective on which this administration came on board, and it has to do with the fight against corruption. Perhaps you tell us, because so many still think that it's neither here nor there, and some still would say perhaps it doesn't look as if it is holistic. You are an insider. Tell us how the fight against corruption is going with the administration, given that people from your constituency, your friends, different people definitely will have varied opinions and views on this matter.
The corruption issue, for me, is a broader issue of law enforcement and order. And it goes beyond, really, public service. It goes beyond cash. It goes right through our value system. And I think the president has shown a lot of courage where we have sometimes in the past seen some sentiment to say, look, listen, I'm taking this on. Now, in terms of results, again, there's only so much that the executive controls. But what the executive has done is to say that we suspect Mr. A. The law allows the police on reasonable suspicion to say, I suspect you to have committed a crime. I will investigate you. They've done that. And some names have been named. They have set the process in motion to give those people the opportunity to present their own version because they are presumed innocent. Now, if the public is looking for convictions, that is a matter which only the judiciary can decide. And I've told people that the success or failure of the corruption crusade is not measured only in terms of the number of convictions. Really, there are no guarantees in conviction. That's how the business of law works. What is important is that people are brought to justice. And bringing them to court is bringing them to justice. Whether they will be convicted depends on the evidence, depends on the facts, and this is why I have always argued that when allegations of corruption are made against people, those who make the allegations must be put to a further test. Can you verify on oath the allegations that you have made against Mr. X, so as to let us know that it is a very serious allegation, that you truly believe those facts, and that there's some basis for believing them. Not to begin to disparage people's reputations. There's something that was sent to me online recently that Buhari administration is going to award some contract of $800 million, and it's totally unfactual by I think it was Premium News or something that reported it. Totally unfactual, totally baseless. All that was concerned was a proposal to us. Now we are saying we want investment in power. Somebody proposes that, look, I want to bring my money to help you restring your lines and improve efficiency. We haven't awarded a contract.
All right.
We have asked TCN, who is in charge of transmission, go and look at it. If you think that it is worthwhile, bring it back. Then we will take it. We can't move without going to BPP. I can't award a contract for $800 million without going to Federal Executive Council. That's the awarding institution.
I think that's a fine place for us to leave it this morning, and I'm afraid we've done more than enough in terms of timing. Babatunde Fashola, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of Power, Works and Housing, a pleasure having you on Sunrise Daily this morning. Well, it's the 1,000th day since the Chibok girls were snatched off their school, and Markwe has a guest with her in the Abuja studios to look at the hope and the pains, as well as the effort of the government in rescuing the girls.